It's a Wednesday, and we're getting up, at least on the West Coast. You're probably watching this later, so it's not a morning show for you. That's not a song I'd normally sing. The coffee's tasting so good today. It's a Tom Waits song y'all never heard. Welcome, channel members who are watching live. Channel members like Troy, he of the great beard. At least in his profile picture. He claims he's changed it since then. We need an updated picture, Troy. And then there's Laserbolt videos. Check out Laserbolt's channel for some very relaxing footage of either flight simulators or drones. He's got a great beard and hair. I'm jealous of his hair. And David McKay says, yeah, you're right. It's a local term. He's not from here. He's from Cleveland. The episode is titled "One Guy, 12 Donuts," and that's a play on a very horrible, if not memorable, early internet meme. Here's what I was going to try to do. I was really going to try to do this. I was going to get up, relatively early, responsibly, and I was going to head over to the local donut shop I go to, and I was going to get a dozen. Hell, throw it a 13th. A baker's dozen. Give it to me. And, the alarm hit. You ever have those mornings? The alarm hits and you're like, nah, that was a stupid plan. Then what am I going to do with 12 donuts? I'm struggling right now with my health. Not even weight. I'm struggling with my health. I haven't gone to the doctor. Just got my doctor back. I got to schedule a test with the doctor. Tests with the doctor, and I'm just afraid what he's going to discover. Those of you watching live, this show goes where I want it to go, I guess. It doesn't go where I plan to. It goes where I want to. Anyone watching live, especially if you're a gentleman of a certain rising age, do you ever deal with that fear of going to the doctor? Because you kind of sense maybe this is going to lead to bad things. Good things if you follow instructions and get better. But the bad things that you don't want to face. That's kind of where I'm at. And that's why I felt 12 donuts to pay off this silly title wouldn't work. Brian Tiller's here. Brian Tiller knows what I'm talking about. That feeling of, I should go to the doctor. The doctor's going to do some tests. He's going to send me some labs, get some lab work. And then he's going to come back with some information that you don't want to hear. But maybe you do. David McKay, channel member watching live, says perhaps he'll discover you have a donut deficiency. And then I would need the donuts. I had a nice breakfast yesterday. Every once in a while, a good friend of mine, you know him out there, Joe Starr. We meet up for a old man breakfast, get up nice and early, head out to one of the various diners of choice or breakfast spots of choice in the greater LA area, and we have a nice breakfast. I had a healthy omelet. I took the hash browns on the side, though. That might have been where I failed. I wanted to take the cottage cheese or the tomato slices. Like I was driving there, much like today, thinking I'm going to wake up and get donuts to pay off the joke of a thumbnail. Again, I'll probably change. And I was driving, getting ready to meet Joe, and I was like, we're going to do the cottage cheese and or tomato slices today. We're not going to do the home fried potatoes. We're not going to do the hash browns. No toast. A nice omelet. A meatless omelet. Not a vegan omelet. A meatless omelet. Went with the Mediterranean Greek omelet. And I'm going to do the cottage cheese and tomato slices. And I'm not even saying cottage cheese is a 100% healthier option. It feels different in you. Then I sat down and I was like, I can't do that. All right. Brian Tiller says every 12 months he faces that. Laserbolt says, I haven't been to the doc in a decade. I'm now concerned about Laserbolt. Michael McCarcel, we call him Detective McCarcel around these spots. I'm only 30 and I'm terrified of what my doctor will tell me any day now. When you're 30 or in your early 30s, things are changing to the point where, you have to start paying attention to some of those things. Got to pay attention to what the doctor maybe suggests. But you're still got the hubris of youth on your side. I still feel I have the hubris of youth on my side at my late 40s age, because I got friends in their early 50s who are, dealing with a little bit more now. So the time is running out on me. It's running out. But Michael, enjoy it. But I was about 34 the first time my former doctor did some tests and said, "Let me ask you this question: Do you eat a lot of steak and ice cream?" And he's very specific about that. And he wasn't joking. He wasn't like, "Ha ha." He was like, "Do you eat a lot of steak and ice cream?" And I went, "Yes, I do." Steak at the time was the only thing I could really cook if I didn't want to microwave something, and ice cream, because of course I was like, a young man living in an apartment, wanted to give myself the only treats I could afford. And he said, "Yeah, you need to cut that down or stop." Now, Dave McKay asked a good question. Together? No, I didn't eat them together. He didn't suggest them together. But now that you say that, and now that you ask that, David, it does kind of feel like that. Maybe that's what we should do. But anyways, Troy says, Troy comes in the other side. I like this. A debate. Troy says, no, I like going to the doctor. Fix me, damn it. It helps that I'll have state insurance with my no co-pays. Thanks, Mitt Romney. Yeah, actually, Romney Care was a good system that I don't know why the GOP wants to ignore in the history of the GOP. Troy said, just went recently to get blood work done because I'm usually anemic, but also found I'm pre-diabetic, which is good to know. Yeah. I have a feel. Yeah, I worry, even though, I don't know. I worry. Sugar is my problem. Dip the steak in the ice cream. It does sound like some kind of bet that you lose and you have to do. Looking at the news, of course, the headlines still out there. There's a lot of headlines to focus on, as always, including the UN resolution for ceasefire in the Middle East with Israel. That is not currently being followed in one of the least shocking bits of news in the world. We got the people still tearing apart the Kate Middleton diagnosis and the video. Is it AI? Was it her? The hand position. I saw a TikTok video of that position of her hands and the shape of her shoulders. Man, I don't know. This poor woman. Whatever's going on ain't good. I don't defend and love the royals, but I do defend and understand and try to have empathy for the pain of a young mother with 3 kids who might be going through something horrendous. So that's on there. But, of course, what happened in Baltimore is still on my mind. It's still on the minds of a lot of us here. 6 people from multiple countries presumed dead in the collapse, which was horrifying. I watched it break online. It was about 11:30 our time. I was setting up for bed when the first tweets and posts and CNN updates started coming through. Grieve for these 6, I believe, men working on this crew. You can see it in the video. You can't see them, of course, but it's that little morbid side effect of watching news break. You can see the work lights of the truck. You see the trucks fall in. Whether or not they're right there or not, I don't know. But 2 of the 8 recovered. 1 refused treatment, affected, but just wanted to get home to his family. And now we believe 6 workers who take these jobs to pay bills and work at night, and one of them a father of 3 and a budding entrepreneur, according to this headline right here. So it's hard to take, man. It's hard to take. And then what is even almost harder for me to take is the ongoing conversations popping up on the fringes. And I think we know what fringes we're talking about. From Alex Jones tweeting that this was clearly intentional, a cyber attack is coming, and World War III has begun, he actually posted. At that point, you're either so serious you are a problem, like I think he is, or you're just parody, and no one's caught up to the joke. Maria Bartiromo, or whatever her name is, they used to call her the Money Honey. Do you remember that? Do you remember when she first came on the scene? She mostly dealt with like Wall Street financial reporting, and she had the nickname of the Money Honey. Times were weird 20 years ago, people. Times were weird. Now she's a full-on grifter, alt-right news reporter, and she blamed this on open borders. It's just predictable, but also tragic in its predictability. My buddy Ken was sending me some great information from people who actually work on these ships, people who are familiar with this industry. A lot of it is understaffed and underpaid crews, not necessarily undertrained, but underpaid and understaffed crews, and companies that have to. It's not unlike the security business, different stakes, but your public safety, you might consider something that you want to have in the hands of the best people, or at least companies that are allowed to do what they can do to give you the safety. These shipping things are often in contract. They're contracts, and to win these contracts and these fiercely competitive things, the margins are so small that you have to cut staff. You have to cut what they take home. You have to cut safety. There's a lot of regulations that are circumnavigated with a foreign crew on maybe a ship that can only go into U.S. ports. They cannot go consecutively to U.S. ports, otherwise that's a violation of the rules. It doesn't. These ships often don't meet Coast Guard standards, and that's why you're seeing with the power going out of the ship, and there's one generator. Things that I'm not an expert on, but this interesting take on it. If you want to know the cause of this, it isn't the bridge. It isn't, should it have been, I've never been on it. I know a few friends of mine who have, and they all describe it as, an older bridge 50 years on that maybe should be repaired, but welcome to our infrastructure problems anyways. But that the one guy who's been on these ships, he's worked on the sister ship of this, the Dolly, I think it is, said dropping the anchor. They did everything they could, but dropping the anchor is like, he described it like putting like a dental floss out to stop a bus, a school bus. Just impossible. And going back to the contract side of it, we felt that in the security business. When I got into the security business, the margin was at like 55%, meaning the security companies had about 55% profit on each officer that was hired. And that started getting cut down to like 43%. And it's not a lot. The companies cannot survive. So a lot of the companies would take contracts. They take mall contracts, mall security contracts, or office contracts. They take some of these security contracts and intentionally lose money on those contracts so they could hopefully get the bigger contracts, the bigger properties, the higher premium malls to make money. And what ends up happening is you have low pay for the staff, you have low morale for the staff, you have less amount of staff, and then things are happening. The public safety that you're paid to do is compromised. When I first got into security, each shift had 15 officers. Two a dedicated camera operator, a dedicated RTO, radio telephone operator, a two or three supervisors, at least two at all times, plus 12, 13 uniformed officers and 2 off-duty police officers. By the end of that run, some of the shifts were as small as 5 people. 5 people who did not have raises for years because the contract company needed to win these contracts in these malls. And so this video I was watching compares this situation to that in my head. He doesn't say the security industry, but it's the same thing. These are contract gigs, and the companies have to cut every single corner they can, including circumnavigating regulations, to win these contracts and stay in business. It is late stage capitalism. It is everyone trying to find a way to just keep going while you're squeezed. And what happens is less qualified or even just less people on board these ships. So when something goes wrong, and I think from everything I've read, I haven't piloted, captained one of these ships. They did everything I think, in my reading the information, Maydays, anchor out, getting it back on, backup, whatever they could. Also, City of Baltimore had cut tugboats. This was also in this video. They had cut tugboats, so there's less tugboats in there because of cost. Cutting costs. Circumnavigating regulations. And the end result is 6 people lost. And it could have been worse. Kudos to the crews there, everyone blocking cars. It's crazy watching that video as the cars are driving over it. Whether they know it or not, you've just driven to the rest of your life. It's crazy. Did I get too dark there? It's on my mind. That's what 20 Minutes of Coffee is. We can talk about Ron DeSantis and Disney settling their fight. And how Ron DeSantis, is, after dropping out of the presidential race, has quietly gone back to Florida and had to or has rolled back some of his anti-woke policies. Never mind. Kidding. Just trying to win a presidential race and appeal to the least of us. But that's okay. It's interesting. Matthew Stokes says, I'd be curious to know if it was possible to remotely hack the control of these ships at all. Fair question. I don't know. I don't think so. But I wouldn't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know. An important word on the internet. But there you go. Troy says, the video reminded me of that old Flash game where you build bridges for a truck to cross. If it wasn't horrible, it'd be comical. The bridge tore apart. It was made of popsicles. It was insane. But what, 100,000-ton ship, full speed, mostly full speed, maybe. It just seemed to hit it at the right spot. It's crazy. Crazy. But in other news, the Mega Millions winning ticket, $1.13 billion. So is Mega Millions across? Oh man, I'm confused. Is Mega Millions just everyone gets it? It's nationwide, and Powerball's only in the state? Oh no. Okay, I'm reading this now. Ah, yeah. I don't know. Someone won big. I've been dreaming about this for months now. I'm trying to manifest a winning lotto ticket. I'm trying. As I slowly go more broke, I don't. I about once every month and a half, every about 6 weeks, I'll say, let me get a cup of coffee, a slice of pizza, and a lottery ticket. Troy says, yeah, the retail store I work at literally cut 3 hours 3 times in the first 2 months of this year. 15 hours a week cut each time, and they wonder why sales are down and shrink is up. What a mystery. Yeah. Yeah, and one of the things, too, that going back to like the contract stuff, one of my former security directors, this is about 2010 or 11, where our weekly contract hours kept getting cut. You know, that's the hours you have for your staff every week. That includes 40 for the director, 40 for the assistant director, me at the time, 40 for supervisors, 40 for a supervisor, all that kind of stuff. You get how that works. We'd have, again, when I started, we had close to 2,000 hours a week, and then it kept dropping, 1,800, 1,650, 1,400, 1,250. When I came back to the Northridge Mall, it was about 1,250 a week, and then it was 1,000, and then it dropped. By the time I left, it was dropping below 1,000. That's not enough. But my boss said at the time of 2011, but here's the problem, and here's the thing. They've cut our hours. We've had to cut staff. We've had to lay people off, and then we're going to make it work. We're going to make it work because we work hard, and we're good people, and we got a good staff. We'll make it work, and then that will give the powers that be, and not the on-site management of the mall, but the corporations, the leaders, the people based back out of the corporate office out of Chicago. They'll be confident that, hey, we can keep doing this. We can cut more hours. There wasn't a crime spree. There wasn't a murder. Only 2 or 3 sexual assaults. It's okay. BFMVs, burglar from motor vehicles, that went up. GTAs, Grand Theft Auto, that went up. You guys just got to work harder. And they'll cut more hours, and they did. So, a lot of these crews these ships, I mean, you know, not a lot of ships running into bridges right now. So, it's not a problem until it's a problem. We'll see. Regarding, I saw you guys are great with the lottery questions. David McKay says, I'm not familiar with U.S. lottery law. That's a good point. Matthew Stokes says, I left work in a hurry to get back home for 20 minutes of coffee. Just had a phone call wondering where that email is. I clearly left my desk without clicking send. Now I've got to go back. That is, Matthew, I feel you on that. I had an email I was supposed to send the other day, and I sat down on my computer to write it. Never wrote it. I also, I've been doing that a lot lately. Michael says, I get to the point every 6 months or so, I'll soon have to take out student loans once I transfer to community college. So I could use a few million. Yeah, there you go. Let's get a 20 minutes of coffee ticket. We'll split it equally, I swear. I swear we'll spread it equally. Thanks for joining me on a Wednesday here as we start to wrap up, because I have to go get ready for Bad Batch coverage. Episode 9 of Season 3, the final season of the series, aired last night or is out there now. No spoilers. Enjoy the episode. But we're going to be doing our Force Center coverage a little later today, which means the Blathering Live, delayed till Thursday, tomorrow night, 5 Pacific. I titled that episode, Fine, I'll Listen to Your UFO Stories. We're going to do the calls again. I thought I fixed the sound issue, but I technically didn't. Might be annoying for the people on the call. And if you guys, here I'm always rallied against the conspiracy theory world and the UFO UAP world, but I want to hear your stories. Not to convince me. But let's talk about it. So if you've got I saw a Bigfoot story, I'll count that as UFOs. I'm pretty sure I saw a Loch Ness monster, the Nessie. I think I saw Nessie. Or you got something weird in the sky. You just want to know. You don't think it's a Serpo alien or a gray alien or any of that stuff. Tomorrow night is a show to call in, and what I'll do too is for these Blathering Lives where we take the calls. I'll have a series of topics of things we want, like a topic, a thumbnail topic, so to speak, and subtopics to have you all call in for that and just take whatever you want to talk about. Going back to the contract stuff, Troy says, I told all my coworkers, subordinates to not work any harder and to stop skipping breaks. Everyone works for what they're paid. We shouldn't be doing more because millionaires want more money. Bleep them. I like that, Troy. I think that's the biggest change. The story I'm talking about is circa 2010 or 11, and we would just try to rally the troops and get the best out of what we could. And, work hard, get out there. Let's do what we can. I think the generations coming up are echoing what you're talking about, Troy. They've seen through it. As, was it Milhouse said? Is it Milhouse? We're through the looking glass here, people. It's an old Simpsons quote, almost a 30-plus year Simpsons quote. Is it still relevant? I think it is in terms of its meaning. But I think there's a lot of talk of these younger generations and their work ethics and habits, but that's always been the case, right? I'm sure in 1908, some old codger was like, "The kids these days are." Ain't one of them running their own farm. They're working on other farms, and they want to go home to their families. In my day, we had no time to go home to our families because I was working at home. The farm was my home. Is Riley around? Riley's too busy to call in, nursing a baby, as he should. But I'm sure he'll do what we want to. But anyways, the conversation around the younger kids the younger generation not wanting to work or work as hard. There's always going to be a little bit of difference. I struggled with a little bit in 2008, 9, and 10 because that was when like the millennials, like the younger millennials were hitting the workforce, and they had different ways of doing things. But I just think, as I said, we're through the looking glass, and something Olden said on Anytime the other day made sense to me that I'd never really heard it phrased. That the hourly salary that you pay is not what you earn. It's what you're willing to take to dedicate your time to them. If that makes sense. And I'd never heard it really phrased like that before. So you're paying me $17 an hour. That's not what I'm earning. That's what I'm taking to give you my time. Now, you could break that down and say, that's a bit of a selfish perspective or everything. I just think it speaks to what's going on. Which everyone was like, hey, I have this, I might have to go start attending meetings for this freelance job I have. The moment they said that, it changed my relationship with the job. You're trying to lock me into a time. You're trying to take from me. You need to pay me more for that. Because I'm just a cog in your wheel. And you'll spit me out when you're done with me. Michael McCarcel, who is 30, as we learned today. And we know that. When I was still managing a restaurant, I always made sure to offer everyone on shift a break, regardless of what the higher opponent. Yeah, and I don't in California, meal breaks and all the stuff are down to the second. Security industry dealt with that a lot of class action lawsuits, which really were just a lot of lawyers trying to get rich for themselves. Officers were not paid out like they dreamed. So there was a little bit of shenanigans. There was some shenanigans, I think. But I think it speaks to the bigger picture. Like one of the things, like if one officer sued, not my company or anything, but it was a case out there. One officer sued because he was on his lunch break in the break room and he heard a radio call, not for him. He was on his lunch break. He had his 30 minutes approved meal break. That must happen within the first 5 hours of your shift, right? But he heard a radio call and thought, well, now I'm working and my meal is upset. My meal break is upset. It's been interrupted. I should get another 30-minute break starting right now. And he sued. And there was a class action lawsuit, and I believe they won. So we had to, again, this wasn't our company, but it was like in the security industry, and we had to they almost had to go to if you were on your lunch break, you had to go to a silence pod. It was like your radio had to be turned in. The door closed. So there's stuff like that I think is a little ridiculous. But the big spirit, the big picture is people take advantage. Forced overtime. You've got to do it. And no, I don't got to do anything. I ran it. And I think as a security director, I was a little bit more like, no, we need the hours. What are you gonna do? And then I got to by the time I got to Collider, and they were like, cool, your work day ends at 6, but why aren't you going to movie screenings so you could watch movies and review them? It's part of your job. It's like, you're not paying me for that. You are not paying me. That is not part of my job. You're keeping me here till 6 p.m., which was pointless because we're done with our day by 2 p.m. most days. You're keeping me here to 6 p.m. I'm literally just sitting at this desk, bleeping around on social media. And now you also then want me to go straight to a movie screening for another 3 hours. I'm not giving you that much time. Send me during the day. Movie screenings happen during the day. Send me during that work day. Happy to go. You might want me to review Blade Runner 2049? Do it. And they did. I watched Blade Runner 2049 during a work day because we went to a theater. We didn't even go to a screening. We went to a theater in Burbank. And we went during the workday because they wanted a video done on that, and I needed to write this video. So me and a bunch went there. Yeah, Troy says, I think the lunch break laws usually say something like an undisturbed break. So yeah, you see Saul Goodman winning that argument. And again, like with anything, you're gonna push. So I understand of it. Sorry, I think I got a little passionate there, flashing back to my Collider days. It just was, it was the thing, man. Like, what are you doing? You don't get to control the hours after I'm off work. Uh-oh. Final story of the day here. I don't even know what this is going to be. The European flying car technology sold to China. Flying cars are coming. We can't even get, oh, this is horrible. This is going to be our death. I can't play this. I accidentally played an MLB clip last week, and I didn't just get demonetized. I didn't get a flag or strike against my channel, but basically I got told, don't do that again. The commissioner of baseball will come after you. So I'm not going to play this clip here. The tech behind a flying car, originally developed and successfully test flown in Europe, has been bought by a Chinese firm. We're all going to die. Powered by a BMW engine, Bavarian motor, what was it? A normal fuel. The air car flew for 35 minutes between two Slovakian airports in 2021. Why am I just hearing about this? Using runways for takeoff and landing. Took just over 2 minutes to transform the car into an aircraft. Now vehicles made based on this design will be used within a specific geographical region of China. This is, when I say we're all going to die, I mean, these cars are going to be produced. They're going to eventually get here to America, and we're all going to think it's Back to the Future too. But really, it's going to be a bunch of dumb tech bros flying their jet cars into buildings, each other, us. This is a problem. That's oh my God. We've been wondering about our flying cars since like the 1930s, right? Every vision of the future. We'll be flying in our own vehicles. This will kill us all. This will kill us all. All right. I'm almost out of here. I really do got to go. But I love hanging out with all of you here, especially if you're watching live and you're part of the channel members that hang with me. And don't forget, channel members, as well as my Patreon supporters at patreon.com/Ken Napzok, get to call in to the Blathering Live. This week, I want to hear your alien stories. I want to hear your Bigfoot stories. Let's talk about it. We'll do this. Troy says, by the way, Ken, great job in the fandom Ghostbusters cram. I wish you presented it too, though. There were at least 3-4 times when I absolutely heard your voice in the writing. Nothing against Billy Biz. I wrote it for Billy Biz, Troy. That's the one thing. Matthew Sook says, I have a BMW. Not sure if I want to be in a plane relying on that engine. Yeah, right? We're having enough problems with Boeing and the big planes right now. Because, all right, so a BMW flying plane car, all right, maybe a name brand I can trust. But then next one, someone's going to be like, oh, have you got the Kia jet? Have you got the Fiat jet? No. Dave McKay says, tomorrow's world promised we'd have flying cars by 2000. It's not happening. Michael Carson says, the same people buying these will be the same douchebags who buy the Cybertruck. I agree with that. I might switch this to the thumbnail. So if you watch this later on and like, man, this guy talked about ice cream and steaks and the tragedy in Baltimore, and then finally, donuts, and then finally got to the thumbnail. Yeah, I don't know, but we don't need flying cars. It's a bad idea, like Saturday Night Live's bad idea Gene sketch commercial parody from decades ago. That's an old reference now. Just think. Look at those Cybertrucks. Look at the Teslas that are crashing and taking over, and oh my God, we don't need them. Troy says, for anyone who loves Ken's The News, watch the Ghostbusters videos, got some of the news vibes. Really? I don't know what Troy, I didn't watch it, so I don't know what they kept in there. Did they keep in all my stuff about Ghostbusters 84 being a Reagan era case for gentrification and small government? Did they keep that in there? I don't know. At this point, I don't know if Billy cares or not. But I put some stuff in there. I was like, oh, they're definitely going to cut this. They're definitely going to cut this. So let me know. I'll wait for that answer from you, Troy, because I could just watch the video, but it's probably too long. I love Billy Biz. I don't want to invest that much time. I want an undisturbed lunch break. That's what I want. I'd be fascinated if they. There was a couple points. Oh, Ernie Hudson. When I first bring in Wilson Zedmore, I had a little bit of a run in there where I wrote Well, I hope Wilson Zedmore's definitely part of the team. And he's been there for every adventure from this point on. I definitely hope he's in the marketing. So I don't know if they wanted to touch that there. That's fascinating. I'm amused by that. Thank you, Troy. I'm waiting for your update. Waiting for the answer. And ads are going to run shortly. I've done this video long enough to where I'm running ads. 20 minutes of coffee. Now priced to go at 40 minutes. It's in there. Not all 45 minutes of your probable rant on it, but I'm pretty sure I remember a couple lines about it. That's fair. I didn't write a ton. That's fair. Thank you, Troy, for that answer. I'll watch the video. Check it out on Fandom's channel there. The Ghostbusters timeline video. The Ghostbusters cram it. All right, everybody. An ad's going to run just as I'm ending. Thank you for updating me on that YouTube on the live end. We do this once a week or more. We do it once a week or more. Hang out, join the channel, become a channel member, and you too can yell at me in chat. We'll see you on Blathering Live. See you up on Force Center later today for the Bad Batch review. Dive in there. Big episode. See you, friends.